Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Glowhood podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Amit. And today's episode is actually going to be the beginning of a new series called DME. And today's episode is going to cover the impact of kindness. So before we get into it, I just want to first give you the definition of what kindness is, and then we can get into what that means. So according to the Oxford Dictionary on Google, if you just Google it, kindness is defined as the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. And plural, it is a kindness I shall never forget. So that's pretty much more than one act of kindness together, if that makes sense. Anywho, so the article that I want to cover in this episode is written in the Scientific American. It was written by Amit Kumar. And the title of the article is Kindness Can Have Unexpectedly Positive Consequences. And it was written just this past December, on December 12, 2022. The first thing that I want to say with this is that kindness in general, according to this article, has been proven to boost one's mood. Now, whose mood, you're wondering? It's actually the person who is doing the act of kindness as opposed to the person on the receiving end of kindness. Even in the Bible, it can be quoted as saying, it is better to give than to receive. And that is stated in Acts 20, verses 32 through 35. Another quote in the Bible can also be stated as, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. That is stated in Ephesians 4:32. So according to the article, kindness is the warmth that is perceived through the act of kindness, where the recipients were surveyed as rating the experience as surprisingly good. That good feeling can then spread to others, and then kindness, like most strong feelings, is contagious. So the act of receiving kindness can then spread because the person on the receiving end will then also turn around and also do an act of kindness, and then so on and so forth, and it becomes a positive feedback cycle. So where kindness is being able to spread throughout, that vicinity or even further on. This is also called reciprocity, and that is defined as the principles of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit, especially privileges granted by one country or organization to another. So the act of kindness is somewhat on that line. However, what it was stated in the article was more so that when someone did an act of kindness, they were not expecting anything in return. And with that fact of them not expecting anything in return, them doing the kind act actually was more fulfilling than even the person who was receiving that random act of kindness. However, the same could be said with those who are also giving that kind act also undervalue the experience to the other person. So it makes them feel as if what they're doing is really no big deal when it actually is a huge deal. And it could actually be life-changing depending on the situation and the person on the receiving end. So I know there might be some hesitation in general with society, the way it's been over the past forever, I guess. Because, the world is the way it is. And I'm sure if you've been alive long enough, you've seen that, people are not generally kind to others. So an issue that you may be feeling as an individual with underestimating your impact of kindness, you should definitely overcome that hesitation, because again, your small gesture could actually be life-changing to someone else. So an example of that would be, let's say it's raining outside, you have an umbrella, you see someone walking down the street who does not have an umbrella, and you rush up to come and help cover them for however the distance is till they're able to get to a sheltered area, whether it's like an awning or if they're just going to their car, whatever the case is. And you doing that small act of kindness could impact that person in a very huge way, because you don't know if that person was probably having a terrible day. They forgot their umbrella, it's raining, they're cold, they're not happy because they're outside or whatever the case is. And you showing that act of kindness has then not only brightened their mood and changed their outlook for that day, but it could also positively impact them for days or even weeks on end, because they can then turn around and go and also do a kind act to someone else and also impact their lives in a positive way. And that's how, as a society, I feel like we should probably be moving in that direction when it comes to how we interact with each other. Not us thinking everybody is individualistic and being selfish with, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I shouldn't care. Well, kindness is kind of the opposite. It will allow you to be able to want to help other people, because in turn, you don't know if you want to have someone help you if you're in a crisis or something. So, a lot of people go by this rule where it's not in my backyard, or it's an acronym for NIMBY, not in my backyard. But I want people to kind of change that perspective and that outlook on life, because granted, it's not in your backyard, but one day it could end up in your backyard. So you might as well be kind to those around you, because you never know how it'll repay you in the future. So before I wrap up this episode, I know this is a very short episode. I would love to incorporate some of your feedback. If you guys have any stories, any acts of kindness that you've experienced in your life. And actually, I'd like if you guys could let me know either in the comments or through my email address, any act of kindness that you've received in your lifetime. I want you to pick the top 3 biggest impacts in your life and think about how it impacted you in that moment, in that day, and then as a general overlook in your life. How did that impact you as a person? Did that change your outlook for a certain situation where you were probably a little pessimistic and had given up on certain things, but through that act of kindness, your faith in humanity was restored, at least for that time being? Or if that made you want to be kind in general to more people just because you liked the feeling of being able to help someone, or you liked that someone was able to help you when you were in a time of need, aka reciprocity. And with that, I'd love for you guys to let me know what those 3 things were. And I want to challenge you that if you could think of 3 things that you could do for someone else, someone close to you, or even someone that you don't know, think of 3 things, 3 acts of kindness that you could do for someone. And then with that, if you could actually act on those things, and let me know how everything turns out. Let me know if that person, was having a horrible day and you were able to turn it around, or, whatever the story is. I'd love to be able to incorporate some of that into the future episodes that we have here. And then, again, just DM me. You can DM me on Instagram at Glowhood Podcast for any topics, or ideas, or any articles that you want me to cover. And then I would love for you to let me know just what your thoughts are in general, just to talk to me, or that you can DM me. So thank you again for listening to this episode of the Glowhood Podcast. You can find me on all social media platforms at Glowhood Podcast, and I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day or evening, or whenever you're listening to this. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Glowhood Podcast. If you like this episode and would like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe and follow Glowhood by visiting www.glowhood.com. Or you can follow us on all social media platforms at Glowhood Podcast. If you would also like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon at patreon.com/glowhood, where you can join for as little as $3 a month. You'll have access to exclusive content like bonus episodes, behind-the-scene footage, monthly Q&As, and more. Thank you again for your support, and I'll see you on the next episode.